Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Shameless in Chicago. This is your host, Nin.
And I'm Luke.
And on today's episode, Luke is wearing a shirt.
Yeah, it's from a show that we all know and love, and
It's called Schitt's Creek.
Hardly see it, but I am wearing a shirt that says "You get murdered first."
No, you get murdered first.
You get murdered first.
Absolutely not.
You're sleeping next to the door, sweaty.
Okay.
So, what is your obsession with murder? I just have to know.
So, I don't have an obsession with murder, but society has this obsession with true crime.
It's a little weird to me. I don't understand how people can listen to the worst stories of someone's life and say, that sounds boring.
No, I swear. I remember like my coworker last year, I was like, do you listen to like true crime podcasts? And she's like, no, I find it absolutely disgusting that people listen to true crime and find it as a form of entertainment. That is not for you to be entertained by.
No, it's a little desensitizing to the issue. If anything, people are literally losing their lives and their families.
1000%. And then these families are wrecked for the rest of their lives.
I blame teenage boys in the early 2000s showing videos to each other of gang cartel beheadings. Because I think that's kind of what kickstarted the true crime movement.
I don't think that's the case.
Tell me more.
I feel like men and women are two separate species. 1000%. Okay, what goes through a man's brain is different than what goes through a woman's brain.
Trade wife over here.
So when I was younger, I liked Investigation Discovery, that whole channel, and Forensic Files was always on there. That's what I liked. It was an educational platform for me. It actually did help me with my forensic psychology class. So there was that. I took my education from Investigation Discovery and implemented it.
Did you have all the shows with the guys who had like the great narrating voices throughout the entire thing? Oh, I love those. I watched them when I was over at my cousin's house because those are the things that she would watch to get to sleep when we were 10 years old.
Yeah, see?
And they traumatized me. Like
Me
the
too.
little reenactments alone with the bad lighting and blurry face angles, they scared the hell out of me. I don't understand how they're entertaining.
I think it was the guy's voice. I think it's his storytelling, if I'm being honest.
He's hooking you in. Basically, he's the precursor to the podcast era.
He's the OG Hook, like the Hook Talks type of things. But yeah, no, I find it really interesting. And then in college, I had a minor in criminal justice because I was just so fascinated by it. And I guess I took my entertainment and wanted to get educated by it. And then I actually wanted to go and get my PhD in forensic psychology. That was something I was really interested in. Sat with my professor who was a forensic psychologist, talked to him about all of it. And guys, it's not as quote unquote glamorous as you think it might be. So that's kind of what led me to recognizing that a lot of these murders or murderers are actually mentally ill, first of all. And second of all, they come from a lot of childhood trauma. So that is what led me into leaving forensic psychology and going into more of the prevention based of being a therapist. But I don't know if people are interested in it. And tell me if I'm wrong, because they see how bad people can be. And it's something that they're like, ooh, I would never do that.
I have a family friend who actually worked as she worked in the morgue for forensics in Maryland for the FBI, for the Maryland PD. And she experienced a serial killer. And, she was telling the story to a friend and my friend said, oh my gosh, that is so cool, because she was a very big intaker of the true crime media. And the friendly friend looks her in the face and she said, nothing about this is cool or interesting. People lost their lives.
Yeah.
So the people who are in that forensic field, they definitely feel the weight of it. I think that's why they choose not to put any effort or any listening power into these true crime casts.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Because they actually see who it affects. They actually see the case unfolding. She couldn't even talk about these cases to anyone while they were going on, because, if you release any information, you risk that information getting out and getting to your perp.
Yep. I mean, my professors were responsible for, they're the people that are the psychologists that you hear about, or is this person sane to stand trial? And it's unfortunate, but a lot of people will be deemed as sane under the government, but psychologically speaking, they're not sane.
Now, what does the government say is a sane person?
So I don't really know because I don't have the job.
Yeah, fair enough. I love the honesty.
Yeah, no, I don't have the job. You actually have to have a doctoral degree in order to work for them.
Stupid government can't pay off your bills with all these people working for you who have doctorates.
Yeah, no, they're really like hardcore.
I owe Chase, not the Decepticons. What the fuck?
Oh my God. But they get paid a good salary. I mean, I think for their amount of education, what they're doing, but it's definitely hard work. Like I had 2 professors that worked for the prison system, and it's hard work and it's scary work, and you have to have tough skin. You really do. One of my professors, actually, he had a client throw his shit at him.
Oh, gosh. Now, I think I realized as you were going through your classes that I did not have the stomach for this because we both found out about this certain class you had that followed serial killers.
Serial and mass murder,
yes,
yeah.
And I thought that was the coolest thing. It actually almost inspired me to go to college with you.
It did. It really did.
And then I didn't follow through, and you would tell me stories of how you would take this class, and you would tell me the graphic details of all of these murders, and I would feel nauseous, physically sick to my stomach. I could never handle such a thing.
As an adult, I couldn't take that class right now. I couldn't. But my professor actually, when she started off the class, she had us sign a contract basically. And she was like, all right, guys, this is not one of your true crime shows. This is real freaking life. And we are going to be getting inside the ins and out, not just a headline. So either you're in it or you're dropping it.
And you're in it.
I was in it.
So what do you think is the most effective part of that class? What have you taken with you from that?
That the people who are in the field and the people who are studying the field are doing it because they care about people, not because they're interested in the murder or the sensationalization that everyone else who listens to podcasts like true crime podcasts or Crime Junkies, it's like the #1 podcast. And all of these, like, they're not cut from the same cloth. I feel like what I learned, if anything, my professor who taught that class is a criminologist. She got her PhD in criminal justice. And everyone who is in it is into the preventative measure and the analysis and study of it and the research of it. And so then once they research it and they learn about it, they're like, how can we prevent it? And so her entire class was not to teach us about Columbine or not to teach us about Kent State or not to teach us about Ted Bundy. It was to teach us about these people and how we as a society can prevent these things from happening. Because at the end of the day, it's not individual. It's a society. You have a group of people and we're all responsible for each other.
Here. I love to hear that. I just wish the media we took would also reflect those messages, but it seems that we're in dire straits more than ever before.
I agree. I also when I think about what we're into today, it reminds me of the guillotine era.
Oh, oh my gosh. It was such a big event. Everyone had tickets to it, like season tickets. It was almost like the playoffs.
Yeah. Like everyone was like, hey, are you going to go see that guy get executed?
Hey. You remember George's wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one?
Yeah.
Gone.
Wow.
Gone. 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
Salem Witch Trials. Are you there?
Oh my gosh. I'm crushing that one to death. Let's do it. Even like what? Weren't crucifixions like people put on public display?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah.
Like not to nail on the head, but Jesus Christ, like this is horrible.
People
so right. Love gore.
Yes. Oh my God, you're so right. Like Jesus Christ was a public execution.
He was. I mean, and Vlad the Impaler. Mm-hmm. That man had a whole name for public execution. He would literally take a spike, run it through people, and while they're still alive, he would just put them up in his garden, have lunch surrounded by people.
That's disgusting.
On pikes.
That's disgusting. But what is it with humans and their fascination with these public executions?
Yeah, what's wrong with you? Us, we are humans.
I mean, if you guys think about it, if you guys look at old videos of like Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or any of these other like infamous serial killers and their executions were obviously done behind closed doors. However, like, you know, the families of the victims are invited to go. The lawyers are invited to go. Yeah, these people watch these and they can invite whoever they want to this execution. But then as you see, there's people outside of the prison like cheering on and having their signs and also happy. And it's like, what is this fascination?
Well, there's also people like sending these men love letters that they think that they have some sort of connection with the people behind bars.
Oh my
What's
gosh.
going on with these people?
Oh my
They're
gosh.
sending like locks of hair or their spit in a bottle.
Yep.
Their bath water.
Yep.
What's going on here? That was a whole Charles Manson, right?
Yes. So, you know what? I feel like I should get my professor on this podcast
Do it.
because we in my serial and mass murder class, she had us go through an entire section of learning about the almost fetishization, however you say that, or fetishization of serial killers and women writing people like Ted Bundy in prison, Charles Manson, all that.
We literally made a serial killer movie starring Zac Efron.
Yes. And what's his face who played Jeffrey Dahmer?
Evan Peters?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. It
And-
wasn't even Evan Peters. One of the Sprouse twins also played Jeffrey Dahmer.
Not the Sprouse twins, but he was in Disney Channel as well. Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God.
These poor Disney kids.
Ross Peters or something like that.
Whatever. We have a lot of Dahmer content for no reason.
But they always hire attractive guys.
Why? Even when I saw a very obscure movie about Henry Lee Lucas, who was a serial killer necrophile.
Okay.
And they still casted an attractive man to play him. This man would literally kill women and have sex with their corpses.
Ew.
Yeah, he had to like plead with police and went on months and months and months to see this is where I buried the body. I think this is where I buried the body.
Yeah.
That body I think is over there.
Yeah.
And he slept with every single one of them.
That's disgusting.
I know. So why
Wow.
are you giving him a 5-star face? Why aren't we making him look like a haggard old man? Even when we had like the Zodiac Killer movie,
Yeah.
we never found the killer, and
No.
and I think we had them like hooded the entire time. At least they were still anonymous.
Oh my God. Or what about the show You? That one.
Oh, you know what? I'm a part of the problem because I watched that show in the first season and I loved it.
Okay.
But after we watch it a second time, why are we giving men license to do this? We literally had people. Harvey Lee Oswald, didn't he cite Catcher in the Rye for the reason for shooting the president?
Oh, I have no idea.
So, I mean, yeah, people will literally blame media for their bad decisions. Why are we putting media out there that glamorizes these bad decisions?
I mean, what I think is interesting about the whole You thing is that Penn Badgley was in Gossip Girl.
Yes.
And we watched Gossip
We
Girl.
love Gossip Girl.
And I never looked as Penn Badgley as like this sex appeal man. It actually, even when Gossip Girl was at its height, it wasn't Penn Badgley that people were interested in. It was Ed Westwick and the other guy. I forgot his name. The guy who played Nathan.
I was a Dan Humphrey fan, but the guy who plays Nate now is on The Boys now, and he's got a rockin' set of abs.
But he's always been like the catcher, like the eye. Like people wanted Ed Westwick and the guy who played Nathan. I forgot his name. But Penn Badgley wasn't. He was like, okay. But now Penn Badgley and You has this whole type of fan base that he's even had to be like, hey guys,
It's the beard.
let's not glamorize.
The beard's the
this.
only thing that's changed.
But no, it's his character. People were obsessed with his character, and he literally had to be like, y'all need to calm down. This is a character.
I do remember when the show first came out, he hopped online and he said, everyone, I didn't realize I'd be so famous for playing a crazy killer, stalker.
Yep.
You guys are insane. I do remember that. He was a little freaked out. I also think the beard had something to do with it.
I mean, yeah, the little scruff. But like that's because that's what's in style today. But even during Gossip Girl, back then, the beard wasn't in style, quote unquote, for men. But they were all clean shaven. And why did he not have the following the same way the other two did?
Because he was the homely one. He was the innocent boy until the end.
He wasn't toxic.
Until the end.
Dun,
Spoilers.
dun.
Spoilers for a 15-year-old show.
It was so good.
I want to kind of go back to Dahmer. Dahmer ruined my life for a couple months.
Yeah.
This Netflix show.
Mm-hmm.
I got a pair of glasses around maybe a month or two before that show came out. Had a striking resemblance to Evan Peters' glasses in that show.
Yeah.
And my mother is a true crime junkie. Mm-hmm. And I got these glasses, and the first thing she says when she lays eyes on me and says, Luke, you need to get a new pair of glasses because someone's going to beat you up in the street because they think you're going to be a Dahmer sympathizer. I said, Mom, why do you watch these shows? Why did my own boyfriend watch the whole show? And he agrees with my mother that I look like Jeffrey Dahmer. So why would you place it on me?
You kind of did that to yourself.
Yeah. But you know what I also want to talk about? So we talked about how the victims' families can watch the execution, but what about the political public executions? Like, we're talking about the guillotine here. We're talking about like political uprising and rebels.
Like Saddam Hussein?
Yeah. Wasn't I remember watching his execution in a car wash TV.
Yep. Yeah, I remember his as a kid too. We were really young for that one. Yeah. They hung him, if you guys didn't know that.
He was really tall.
Was he?
He was like 6'7".
Damn. Yeah, but then it was, my dad watches Arabic news, Al Jazeera. And they definitely showed it.
Yeah, no, they showed it everywhere because I grew up in a small rural town, and we went through an automatic car wash, and we were in the lobby. I remember this very, very vividly, and there was a small box TV in the corner right by the door, and it showed everything.
Yeah.
Like, this is America's #1 enemy. They literally televised this man's death until the last breath.
And but you know who they didn't show? Who? Osama bin Laden.
Oh, and I don't know if a camera crew was there to see him.
There was. Oh. There was. The armed forces had cameras on them, and all we see is pictures of Obama watching this execution go down. And it's like you see the whole table is filled with people watching this execution happen in real time. And it's like, it's sick. I don't know.
You know, for just being as young as we are, I think we've seen a lot of actual lives being lost on TV. I remember when you and I were in high school, and there was we had TVs that played in our lunchroom in this big circle. We had the whole TVs that were in the middle, so everyone saw the news. Yeah. We were playing CNN one day, and it was the day that man lost his life. He was selling cigarettes to kids, the single cigarettes. He was just selling them out. Okay. And a police officer placed him under arrest and leaned on him. And as he's yelling, I can't breathe, we're literally watching these man's last breaths on TV. Yeah. And we're showing this to a room full of children.
We weren't in high school.
We were in high school. You're thinking of George Floyd.
Yeah. Who are you thinking about?
There was, I forget his name, but he was selling like loose smokes to kids.
Oh, wow.
And it was the original I Can't Breathe.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
That was like a weird moment for me. I remember sitting in the cafeteria, looking up to my left, and I said, oh, that man's dying. And I have a whole bunch of group of like 14 to 18-year-olds just eating it up, watching it. Like, it's something they want to see. They're rooting for it.
It's like you like look but can't.
It's a train wreck. You can't look away.
You can't look away. And it's almost like when you see two people like making out in public, like you're like, oh, I want to look, but I shouldn't look, but like I want to look. You know what I'm saying?
Are you watching strangers make out in public?
No, but I'm saying like you shouldn't be looking, but like people stare.
They do, and it's unfortunate that's kids. It's literal kids. It's like I said, from the moment that we had the internet, teenage boys were showing videos of people getting decapitated to each other, to one another. Yeah. This media is way too in our faces ever since we're young.
I know. And like the older we get, it's like we keep lessening the bar of what is and isn't allowed. And like, let's be real. Like some of this shit should not be allowed on the internet. Like, I'm sorry.
Take that shit back to your VHS tape and play it on a gosh darn, what's it called? VCR? Yeah. Like a regular creep.
Yeah. I swear. I mean, like porn is so accessible, and like Netflix, I have the biggest issue with. Like there's this one show, it's called Working Moms. You know what I'm talking about?
I love that show. Wait a minute, Will Beef, what's up with Working Moms?
No, it's not what I've never watched the show fully. Okay. But in the first episode, the
first scene
is a pair of tits.
It's 3 pairs of tits.
Yeah. That's the first scene.
Oh my gosh, no, you have to give that show a chance.
That's not my point. My point is that right there used to not be allowed to be shown on television. It was only like for your eyes only. It was just porn. And now any kid can go and click on that. It's, you read the title Working Moms, you're like, oh, my mom's a working mom nowadays. Oh my gosh. So you're going to click on it and you're going to watch it and you're going to be like,
Those
yeah,
are boobs.
those are some titties. And it's like, even like the show Too Hot to Handle, the screen grab is a woman's ass.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's a girl in a thong bikini.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And that entire show revolves around people that are too hot to handle. Like, you just want to have sex with them. And it's like, there's an entire show on Netflix revolving on one thing, and that is sex.
Well, that's kind of uncomfortable.
It is uncomfortable because when I was younger, my dad would say this. He said, "This is the country where the devil thrives." And I never understood what he meant by that. And as I've gotten older, I understand, because too much freedom is too much freedom. And this country isn't built off of, like, some people will disagree with me, but it's not a country that focuses on religion. You know, like in the Middle East, which is like where we're from, like everyone has their religion and they stand true to that. And then this is the country where you kind of like stray away from it and you have freedom of religion, which is the most beautiful thing. Don't ever get me wrong for that. But when you have too much freedom, almost, people started, you know, this is okay and this is okay, and we're going to take from this. And because of that, we have fallen into a rut of disgustingness where, let's be real, child pornography is the worst thing, but it's something that you keep seeing pop up. Like, for example, if you guys haven't heard the story, the 57-year-old dad who drugged his 12-year-old daughter, her friends, like including his daughter, he put it in their mango smoothie of benzodiazepines. And one of the girls refused the drink. She didn't drink it. And she saw her friends get knocked out unconscious. And so the father was put in prison and he was bailed out. And right now he's currently walking the streets. But he drugged 12-year-olds. And it's like, this stuff, it's sad to say, but it's not uncommon.
That's the most horrifying thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, you learn as you go, but oh my God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or where do you think you learned how to do all this? The internet.
The internet.
I blame the internet for everything.
I mean, we went to a high school with a guy who ended up being a...
Oh, gosh, don't remind me. I went to class with this person.
Yeah.
It was really, honestly, the most shocking and disgusting thing I think I'd ever seen come across my Facebook feed.
And my sister had somebody who is in her age class who, same thing.
Ugh, it just makes me uncomfortable. This always traces back to the kids. I remember there was a story about a girl. She was like an Olympic gymnast. She was a teenager, and she had called out her coach for sexually abusing her. Mm-hmm. And everyone said, "You are lying. You are wrong. This man would never do that." Only to come to light a few years later that he was sexually abusing all of the girls that he was coaching.
Yeah. All right, let's not, like, John Benet Ramsey, who died before we were even alive. And nobody knows, was it the dad or was it the brother? But foul play is suspected.
Who are we talking about?
You don't know who John Benet Ramsey is?
Don't. Educate me.
Oh my God. John Benet Ramsey is this little girl. Insert picture here for those who don't know. John Benet Ramsey was this 5-year-old girl. I believe she was a pageant queen. She was like the most beautiful little girl. On Christmas, one day she went missing. And they believe that the brother did it, but there was never proof. Like, there's never been proof as to who killed her.
That is so sad. That reminds me of Casey Anthony's case with Kaylee.
That one pisses me off.
And I hate that we were just talking about how much we hate true crime, but I'm about to say, I watched the Casey Anthony documentary on Peacock.
And I will not watch it because I refuse to give her money.
Yeah, no. It's awful. She has and she says it in this whole documentary that the filmmaker has all the creative directive towards it. She's just there to tell her story.
Okay.
But she deflects it all towards her father and brother.
Yep.
And you had a daughter. She was missing. You didn't do the right thing. Like, my mother would tear the world apart to find me.
She like partied the next day after her daughter was...
Yeah, and she tried to call herself a club promoter, but wasn't she 19?
1000%. Yeah, she's probably young as shit.
And again, that's another glorified case. I saw that case when I was 12 years old in Florida on vacation on TV.
Yeah.
First thing I see when I wake up in the morning is Casey Anthony is arrested and also lied to authorities saying she worked at Universal Studios.
Yeah. Yeah, that was crazy.
You see, I remember all of this. That's how much of an impact it has on us, and that's how much it shapes us. I remember the little things about people that I should not even have to know about because they are monsters that kill people.
I know. And then we like pick and choose like what we sensationalize, really. I mean,
people fawn over the Columbine boys. Like, there's a whole internet subchapter to where people are like, I want to be in a relationship with them.
Really?
They'll Photoshop themselves into photos with them like they're hugging each other.
Really?
Yes.
That's disgusting.
This was a big thing back in the days when Tumblr was really popular.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, no, the serial killers who are even dead to this day have like erotic fan bases.
Ew.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Ew. What's the psychology behind that? You don't want abandonment?
I don't think there is psychology to that. I think it's
there's psychology to everything.
It's psychoacity. I don't know.
Somebody else, Gabby Petito. Remember?
Oh, that poor girl.
That poor girl. I feel so bad for her to this day.
I do too. She was just trying to make it.
She was trying to become like a vlogger, right?
Yeah, they're doing a travel vlog, and she was traveling with her boyfriend and
her fiance.
Her fiance, and her fiance came back without her.
Oh yeah, and then he killed himself.
And then, how about this one was not really an influencer case, but the Ohio 4, I think it was Ohio. There was a bunch of students that were sleeping in like a house they had rented out, and in the middle of the night, one of the neighbors snuck in and killed 4 of them with a knife, and there was like 6 or 7 of the kids there. And in the following days of the interview, they interviewed the neighbor who said that he had nothing to do with it, and he'll talk to police. He's on TV, only to find out that he was the killer, and he's going to be like starting to go through trials, I think, later this year.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The college ones?
Brian Cogan, I think.
Yeah, the college murders.
Yeah, those kids.
Yeah.
I can't stop reading about them.
See that, but that's the thing. Like, why? Do you care about the people, or what is it?
I don't know. I think I had this like, so since I've been reading it from the beginning, I have this sense of I almost want justice for these kids, but all it really actually is I want to know what happens to this man who killed them. That's all I care about. And to be completely honest, I don't even think about those kids.
Yeah.
I think about what's happening to this man. And am I okay with it? Do I accept what happened to him? Can I change it? No, but I'll still be angry about it if I don't accept it.
And like, that's the thing, is that in our Constitution in the United States of America, our Constitution calls for swift and justly punishment, right?
Yes.
And is it swift? Is it?
Well, you have the right to a speedy trial, but I think that's, if you're fighting it, that's you waiving your right to speedy trial to go against the court system.
Interesting, but honestly, our trials are not that speedy. They take at least 2 years.
Some of these people are on death row for their entire lives. Some people are on death row until they die from natural causes.
Yes, and then like that's another thing we talk about that I think is important, which I think is such an important discussion, is, are you for or against the death penalty?
I'm for the death penalty.
Educate me. I actually, guys, fun fact, when I was in high school, my cousin had a college paper to write about, are you for or against the death penalty? And he hated writing, and he's like, Nin, can you write this for me? And I did it. I wrote it for him. As a high school student, I wrote his college paper. I got a C.
That's a college B.
Right?
Yes.
No, he got a college C. He got a C on the paper.
Oh.
And that was because I hadn't learned how to formally write. But if you guys wanted to know my writing skills,
I believe in the death penalty.
But let me tell you.
Hit me.
There's an entire book about it. Like, there's literally a thick ass book about either for or against the death penalty. And this just goes to show is that people are really divided on this one.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, look at me. I have a fear of death. I have a belief that every life is sacred no matter what. But I do believe in the death penalty in cases of, severe murders, mass murders. If you're so comfortable with taking life and you have no remorse for it and you have no intentions of making yourself different from that person, I think you are too dangerous to be walking around innocent people. We've had people walk in to grade schools, to primary schools, and shoot children. To shoot children. I don't think that these people deserve to breathe the air that's on this earth after they've shot a child. And that sounds a little vindictive of me, but I mean, there's a line. There has to be a line.
There has to be a line, right? But then who are we to take away somebody else's life?
Who are they to take away someone else's life?
I know. And then I think of my ancestor, Mr. Great Hammurabi, an eye for an eye. But then you think of the other saying, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind.
I know, but a dead child can't see.
Oh my gosh.
That's my thing. You know, it's all revolving around like if you are going to go and you're going to take a life before it starts, then you do not deserve to take the life that you're going to live.
And like the thing is that like, can America do something different? I think America can do something different.
Absolutely, because it is a mental health issue. I agree with you that this all starts from mental health issue, but in my belief, I do believe that there is a too far gone. See,
my thing is that American prisons slowly have become for profit. They have become privatized.
Yes.
And those prisons need to be in their contract with the United States government alongside their private thing, is that the prison needs to be remaining at 90% capacity. 90% capacity is a lot.
It's overstuffed. There's not enough corrections officers.
There isn't enough corrections officers, and you want to know why?
Why? Because they don't want to pay for them?
They don't want to pay for them. They don't want to hire them. So, because they don't want to hire them, they don't want to pay for them, but the prison wants to be 90% full, then they are going to arrest people to meet that quota. And they will not execute people because they want to stay 90% full. But another issue with our justice system is that we will put innocent people in prison. And I thoroughly believe that there are people in the United States prison that are innocent, and because of race. Like, if you guys look at the statistic, 1 in 3 black men will go to prison, 1 in 6 Hispanic men will go to prison, and
whoa, those are really big numbers.
Yes, and 1 in 10 white men will go to prison. So this just goes to show how our justice system is racist, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the school to prison pipeline is something that is being studied and continuously being studied. But if you go and look at like black majority schools, they'll have metal detectors to like walk in. We have a school in Chicago that students can only have a clear backpack. And that's also a big issue because these kids are paying for what? Just because of the color of their skin. And then they're paying for crimes for what? Because of the color of their skin. And so then it gets into a greater topic of, if we're really going to believe in the death penalty, is it equal? Is our justice system equal enough for the death penalty? And I don't think it is. No.
I mean, no, that when you put it that way, that's a very good point. If we treated each case equally, if we could say the equal number of people between, yeah, that'd be sure. But there is absolutely a disproportionate number of colored people, you know, people of color to white people. And yeah, no, that's a perfectly great reason.
Yeah. And then also to go into this a little bit more is that there is no equality. If we're being honest, even gender equality when it comes to prison and prison time, women are less likely to face a harsh sentence than men are. That's why you'll hear like the first woman on death row or like the first woman like sentenced to life in prison. And it's because women are less likely to get harsh imprisonment times. And so it's like, okay, well then if we're going to have the death penalty, men and women should be equal, but it looks like we're executing more men because they're more likely to get the harsh punishment than women are. So for that reason, I would say I am against the death penalty because we just can't get it equal. And I just don't think it's fair.
Well, everyone, I'm definitely really curious to hear your thoughts about the death penalty. Definitely let us know.
Yeah. And let us know what you guys think of this whole conversation about the glamorization, the intense obsession, even
the infatuation
of true crime
and serial killers and cult leaders.
Yeah.
Jim Jones has a following still.
Who's that?
Jim Jones, Jonestown.
Oh, the Jonestown Massacre.
Jonestown Massacre.
During COVID, I was exposed to Bailey Sarian. Love Bailey. She has 7.25 million subscribers.
Come on our podcast, Bailey.
Because she does murder, mystery, and makeup. So 7.25 million. That's a lot of subscribers.
And she's not afraid to let you know that you're doing too much when it comes to true crime.
Oh, 1,000%. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to us today. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating, like this video, subscribe to our channel, and we are here for you guys every single week. New episode upload is on Wednesday. Video upload is on Thursday. And we look forward to seeing you guys again here next time. And we might even have some bonus episodes here and there.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be fun. And join us next time as Nen breaks into your favorite hair care product facility to free all of the mice that they test shampoo on.
Free the animals.
Free the mice. John the Whale, free the mice.
Bye, everyone. Bye.